What's up FFXIV and Jane gamers, this is Jaden for Team HJ. Welcome to the channel where we cover all Final Fantasy XIV content quick and easy so you can get back to gaming. Alright, let's get at it. This is going to be a quick guide on the Tower of Babil. In this video, we're going to cover 3 bosses you'll encounter in this dungeon and if necessary, noticeable trash and mechanics. The first boss of this dungeon is going to be Barnabus. At the start of the fight, the boss will attack the NPC and surround the arena in electricity. Any player standing in this will receive the electrocution debuff, causing damage over time. The boss will cast ground and pound, targeting a random player with a frontal line AoE. Getting hit by this will cause moderate damage and knock the player back. Simply move out of the area to avoid the damage. Dynamic scrap line will connect the boss to all players and mark them with either a plus or minus magnetic sign. The boss will then form a point blank AoE. Any players with opposite sign to the boss will be pulled in, while players with the same sign will be knocked back. Players will need to position themselves in a way that they are not knocked into the electricity or pulled into the AoE. Shocking Force will target a random player with a stack up marker. All players should stack up to minimize the damage. Thundercall will summon 4 lightning orbs around the boss while dropping a point blank AoE. Simply stand in the safe areas to avoid the damage. Finally, the boss will cast Dynamic Pound, running in the back of the arena and forming a long line AoE. Just like with Dynamic Scrap Line, players will be marked with either a plus or minus magnetic sign. Players will once again either need to run out or run in depending on their respective signs to land in the safe zones. Pay attention to your magnetic signs and this should be an easy one. Next up is going to be Lugay. Terminal Suppression will cause group-wide damage, healers be ready. Magitech Missiles will target 2 random players with a circular AoE. Simply move out of the area to avoid the damage. Magitech Ray will target a random player with a frontal line AoE. Once again, simply move out of the area to avoid the damage. The boss will periodically run to the center of the arena and use one of 2 abilities. Magitech Chakrams will summon adds who will cover the entire arena with a frontal line AoE. Players will need to step on the purple glowing platform to shrink down small enough to avoid this attack. Stormpour will fill the arena with water, infecting all players with a heavy and a stacking breathless debuff. If a player reaches 8 stacks, they will die. Players will need to step on the green glowing platform, removing all their debuffs and turning them into a toad. During this time, the party will be barraged by multiple missiles in the form of circular AoEs. Simply move out of the area to avoid the damage. Finally, the boss will cast Magitech Explosion, dropping 3 bombs in various locations of the arena. These bombs will form an AoE in a cross-shaped pattern across the arena. Players will have to find and stand in the safe zones before detonation. Identify and use the correct platforms, and this boss shouldn't pose much of a problem. The final boss of this dungeon is going to be Anima. This fight consists of 3 phases. Lunar nails will drop nails in a square-shaped pattern across the arena that will be connected with a purple line. Players will have to identify the areas of the arena where all 4 sides of the nails are connected and stand in the safe zones. The boss will then cast Phantom Pain, causing the areas connected with 4 lines to explode. Mega Graviton will cause group-wide damage and summon 4 Mega Gravitons in each corner of the room. Ethereal Pull will connect all players to one of the Mega Gravitons with a purple line. Players will have to run far enough away from the Graviton until the line becomes orange to avoid being sucked in. The boss will cast Payer Patriae, a large frontal line AoE. Simply move out of the area to avoid the damage. Boundless Pain will pull all players to the center of the room and continuously pulse damage from an expanding AoE. Players will need to run to the corner of the room to avoid excessive damage. Imperaton will pull all players into the floor to face the lower half of Anima, and beginning the second phase of this fight. A Chaos Gauge will slowly begin to fill. Players will need to defeat the boss's lower half before it's filled, or the boss will cast Oblivion and wipe the party. Obliviating Claw will spawn claws to the left and the right of the arena. The claws will move across the arena in a frontal line AoE. The party will have to pay attention to which claws will first spawn in order to determine the safe zones. The first claws to spawn will move first, the party can then reposition to that location. Obliviating Claw may also target 2 random players and mark them. These players will then be followed by a nail. The 2 bark players should run to the opposite outer edges of the arena, making sure never to overlap each other. If the party succeeds in defeating the lower Anima before the gauge is filled, the boss will go into a frenzy, doing mild group-wide damage before returning the players to the upper layer, where phase 3 will begin. The boss will begin to cast Erupting Pain, targeting all players with a spread out marker. Players will need to spread to avoid overlapping. At this point, the boss will cast the previous abilities with more overlap and frequency. Anima can seem intimidating, but if the party focuses on taking on 1 ability at a time, the boss should fall over in no time. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the comment section. Alright, now that you know what to do, queue up and go show them why you belong.